Julia Hartstein, Pilates instructor extraordinaire. I'm going to teach you your crisscross in your series of 5. So let's find our mats, finding your back flat, find your pillows, whatever you need. The hard part about crisscross, and I find the most effective, is about coming forward, right? Because your ultimate goal when you do crisscross, and this was always Shari's favorite one, she would joke around, you'd see her on the mat if she had like a few minutes in between clients and she'd do her series of 5 and she'd start crisscross and she'd look up at us, she goes, do we give this to people? This is hard. Crisscross is definitely one of the hardest, and the way that Ramana taught it was not that windmill action that you get a lot of times in a lot of any kind of exercise class. And I put yoga in there because we use yoga for exercise, right? It's a way of life. That being said, when you're doing the movement part, a lot of teachers will teach that whole, windmill action. Ramana was not big on that. If you do 2 to 3 with this speed and this accuracy, that's all you need. And she always said you only need 1 or 2. She didn't even say 3, but the way we learned it is 3. So the way I teach this first, a lot of times, is with the legs down and putting the hand over hand behind your head. Because a lot of times, and I didn't teach this on your double leg stretch, but sometimes what I just like to work is feeling the hands behind the head and feeling the rib cage down. Because so many of us put our hands behind our head and we arch the upper body, right? Really try to feel where your ribs are. You can even put your hands there and relax the rib cage down. See, because I'm so tight right now, my upper body could actually use another pillow. When I put my hands back here, you'll see this melt down even more. And that's the feeling you want to have, because when we're tight in our upper back, we have the play between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the head, and it winds up becoming, a lot of people do this on the mat, right? And it's because it's tight up in here. When you let that lengthen, that will help. And it's something to know on the double leg stretch, excuse me, and this crisscross. So keeping this, feeling that rib cage down. What I tell people, feel your forehead in your hands. That's a Shari thing. Feel your forehead in your hands. And then just take your shoulder blades off the mat. Notice it's my shoulder blades coming up. I'm not crunching my neck this way. Oftentimes we say chin to chest, and sometimes that's important in Pilates. That being said, don't necessarily do that here, because sometimes that's when your neck gets tired. And a lot of times what happens on a series of 5 is that people wind up falling backwards into limbo. And this is what aggravates the neck, and it feels so tired and you have to put it down, right? It's trying to find the space in here, and you're going to understand and need this space for your crisscross. So sometimes just working on this alone will help work this upper body, and you'll feel it right like in the rib cage area, like a little triangle. Now, when you start that, bring that in. A lot of times I just have people bend their knees, right? You worked on this, you're up to this point. You get your elbow to touch your knee. And Ramana would say, get them to touch, right? Make them touch. Come up your center and switch. Make them touch. This is just a very basic way of doing this. Because the coming forward, you'll notice for yourself whether it's easy to pull your legs in or for whether you to go forward to it. Just notice what that action is, because then eventually it's the other leg goes out, right? Holding this. Because the goal is to have one elbow going this way and then to twist open so much you can open up completely behind you. That's why you go forward, because if you're here, you'll never be able to open this area up. It's against the mat. You have to get it off to twist it open, right? That is what you're looking for on your crisscross. And that is what is so hard about that exercise. So let me know how you're doing with this and where you are. It's not an easy exercise to do. Again, 1 to 2 of those elbow to knee is much better than this whole thing like this. You're not doing anything, right? You're just making space. It's like breathing and making a noise. You're making a noise. You're not breathing. There's a difference. And it's just kind of understanding where that is. So that is all of your series of 5. We're going to put them together next week for your Pilates mat challenge, the 30-day challenge I have. But if you're just catching in and pulling this in, bring it in into your regular work. You don't have to do the 30-day challenge. There you go. Blessings.